Hi, I'm Arden Compton, and I want to show you how to use the emotional freedom techniques or EFT tapping to address sabotaging patterns in life. Most people have put a ceiling on their ability to perform or their happiness in their life or something, and they have patterns, negative patterns that repeat, that come around. And what often happens is the nervous system kind of has a thermostat to it that says, okay, this is how life should feel. And our circumstances can vary, but this thermostat, it's in the brain, hypothalamus, nervous system. I'm not going to get too technical. We're just going to call it a thermostat, okay? The nervous system thermostat is how I'm going to refer to it for simplicity. Or just going to say, it says, okay, this is my assumption, my conclusion. Given life's experiences, I can expect life to feel this way. And for different people, it's different words. For some, and think of your own life. What are the emotions that seem to keep coming around? You could ask yourself the question, how do I end up feeling most of the time? I always end up feeling what? And for some people, I often end up being disappointed or stressed, or life is overwhelming, or I can't function, or negative things like this. And there could be 1,000 different answers. Life feels what? What is the most common reoccurring feeling in life? Disappointed, unwanted, rejected, and so on. And we want that to be, we want it to be a positive word, okay? We want to set our nervous system thermostat on life is joyful, life is fun, life is abundant. Now there will always be challenges. There's always going to be uncertainty. But how does life feel? Okay? And if a person has a belief that life is frustrating, let's just use that as an easy example. Okay? If that's what their thermostat is set on, well, how many things could a person become frustrated about? Well, almost anything, whether it's good or bad. You could be frustrated if it's raining. You could be frustrated if it's sunny. You could be frustrating whatever, with the weather or with politics or with another person. And you might find it irritating or frustrating more than it needs to be. In fact, does it ever need to be frustrating? Frustration should be a response we can opt out of, but far too often it's a default response. And not just that's just one example. We could say life is frustrating or life is stressful. Often people will feel that life is a struggle. And if life is a struggle, guess how many things you could struggle with? Well, almost anything could become a struggle if that is what your nervous system is set on. I need a struggle. And it becomes a need. First it starts off, this is what I've experienced, this is what I've seen, and okay, I guess this is how life's going to feel. And then for the nervous system, it almost becomes a need. I need to struggle or be frustrated or stressed or overwhelmed or whatever it is. And when we get to a place where that's not present, where we feel good, where we're happy, where things are good, it's like, yes, I want life to be more like this. On the one hand, it feels good, but on another hand, it feels foreign. And a person can actually feel a little uncomfortable in this better, happier place. Almost like you're wearing somebody else's shoes. It's like, I like this, but and it's not necessarily conscious, but something in the nervous system says, I actually belong back down there where I was stressed or overwhelmed or struggling or whatever it was. And we sabotage this better place that we could have gotten to. And you see this pattern in people's lives where they do better for a window of time, and that window of time can vary, whether it's a few days or in some scenarios, they'll do better for even a few years. And then there's a crash, and they go back down to where they were. They couldn't sustain this better place because their nervous system said, no, I belong in a place of struggle, stress, whatever it is. And so we can use EFT tapping to reset the thermostat in the nervous system, to reset it so that feeling good is normal. Feeling good or abundant or joyful or whatever positive emotion you want to put there, love, gratitude, kindness, is the normal experience with occasional upsets. Life's never going to be perfect, of course, and there's always going to be days with bad news. Don't want to sugarcoat things. But what is our response? What is our default response that we tend to default to? And we're rarely conscious of it. This is so subtle. we're hardly aware that we bought into the idea that life has to feel this way, and that it's us that keeps reorchestrating things. Other people play a role, for sure, but ultimately we orchestrate how life feels. The circumstances can vary, but we often come back to the same default feeling. So I'm going to demonstrate how I would reset the nervous system with the emotional freedom techniques. This is not a one round of tapping with emotional freedom techniques. We tap on acupuncture points. This isn't one and done. To really get the nervous system reset and to have a sustained change, this takes consistency over time, and awareness, and paying attention, and repeating this consistently over time. Kind of like, think of how an advertiser works. When somebody creates an advertisement and they put it online or on TV or something, or on the radio, whatever, they don't just run the advertisement once and say, we got our message out there, now everybody's going to know about our product. No, they repeat it over and over and over again. You keep seeing the same ads, and then it starts to bug you. I can't, not this ad again. But that's what they're trying to do, is they want to get it stuck in your head, their product or service or whatever it is, so that you don't forget. So you've got to advertise to yourself this new setting for your nervous system and repeat it over and over and over again until it finally clicks and becomes the default setting. I can't tell you exactly how long that's going to take. It depends. It's different for everybody. Maybe a few weeks, maybe a few months, maybe you need to work on it off and on for a few years to finally get it to stick. Just, it depends. I wish I could say this is just, 1 or 2 days of this and it's forever fixed. But the old programming is sticky, it's tenacious. It's almost like it doesn't want to go away. It's like, I demand this struggle. You've got to be in this struggle, or this whatever, this challenge, like a revolving door that you never get. Okay, I'm there. No, I'm out. No, I'm not. No, I'm back in. No, I'm out. No, I'm back in again. And it's like, no, let's get off the revolving door and let's create a sustained change to a joyful life. And that's ultimately what we want. We want to be happy. We want to be at peace. We want to have security. We want loving relationships. And so we're going to focus in this round of tapping how we want life to feel, not necessarily the circumstances, but the feeling that we want life to have. And that's where we want our nervous system thermostat to be. So with EFT tapping, you tap on acupuncture points, you tap on you, or I'm tapping on me. I don't care if you're right-handed or left-handed. Just follow along and repeat after me. So just say this reoccurring pattern, and you have thought of your own reoccurring pattern. What is the pattern for you? I always end up feeling, or I always end up in a circumstance where I am something, I am disappointed, or I am hurt, or I am unsafe, or whatever it is for you. What are the circumstances usually? I am in this circumstance again, or I end up feeling this way again and again. You've identified that. Pause the video if you need to. Identify your thermostat setting, okay? And tap. You say, I always end up feeling, I'm just gonna throw in some common words. I always end up feeling stressed. I still love and accept myself. You know, I always end up feeling overwhelmed or disappointed. I completely love and accept myself, but I often find myself feeling angry at things. I still love and accept myself, but this is the thermostat setting for my physiology, for my nervous system. I always end up in a situation where I am disappointed. Again, you put in your word. I always end up feeling this way eventually. I always end up in pain, or plug in your word. I always end up in a situation where I am sad or in a crisis. This reoccurring pattern in my life. And no matter what I do, I come back around and I feel this negative thing again and again and I might feel stuck or trapped, or change seems hopeless. Can I have a future that's better than my past? All the doubt that I can ever be free of this reoccurring negative, painful emotion. But I can. I have a choice. I get to choose my internal mental and emotional state. I get to choose what I think. I get to choose how I respond. And I can change my response. Might not be easy, but the choice is available to change my response. No matter how long this pattern has been going on, I can change. I can change now. So there's a really, I'm gonna just bring in just keep tapping. I'm gonna bring in a metaphor. You don't have to repeat now, but just, there's a movie which you may or may not have seen. It's called Groundhog Day, and it's about a guy who relives the same day over and over and over again. And it's a bit of a comedy, but it's also, and there's a few off-colored jokes in there. Sadly, it's, you know, it is what it is. But there is a profound message in there, and that is we can change. And in this movie, to me, one of the best illustrations is as he's reliving this day in this fictitious scenario. The first day, he steps in a puddle. That's like, he steps off a curb and there's a puddle, and it ends up being like, you know, halfway up to his knee deep puddle, something like that. And he's upset. I can't believe I stepped in this puddle. The next day, he does the same thing. He steps in the same puddle again. It's like, Third day, he steps in the same puddle again. Fourth day, he almost steps in the puddle. He stops, he looks at it, and he doesn't step in the puddle. That is a profound message. We can choose to change no matter how many times something has happened to us over and over again, no matter how many times we have been in despair or whatever it is. We can begin to make changes now to avoid that same mental and emotional response. We can change the story we're telling ourselves. And so we don't have to keep stepping in the same puddles of life over and over again. So repeat after me to say, I can change. With God's help, I can change. I have free will. I have agency. And as life's challenges hit me, when unfair things happen, when people are unkind, when the weather isn't what I want it to be, when the economy isn't what I want it to be, and somebody in government isn't doing what I want them to do, I get to choose my response. I don't want to be a victim to my circumstances. And I can reset my thermostat, my nervous system thermostat. I'm resetting my nervous system thermostat for a better life. And the setting I want it to be on is joy. Okay, life is joyful. That's my thermostat setting. Life is loving. Life is in my favor. Life is abundant. My life is full of gratitude. I feel profoundly blessed in life. Life is good. I feel healthy. I feel confident. I feel amazing. Life is better than I thought it would be. Even though I'm surrounded by crazy people and uncertainty and hard things, life is amazing. And things keep turning out good. Even though there's disappointments, even though there's days with bad news, somehow in the end, it works out good. It works out being for my good. And I learn from the pain. I learn from the challenges. I gain wisdom along the way, and I feel blessed. Regardless of circumstances, my new thermostat setting is life is joyful, life is amazing, life is a blessing, and I feel good in every way. I'm resetting the thermostat of my nervous system to be comfortable with a joyful life, to feel safe with an abundant life, to be at ease with joy and love and gratitude, to recognize this is really the place I'm meant to be, that the old unhappy pattern was not in harmony with my divine being, that I actually am a being whose normal state is joy and love and compassion and gratitude. I'm resetting my thermostat to be comfortable, to feel safe in a joyful, loving, abundant state. So think of this as a template. You want to tap and say, okay, here's been the negative pattern, but here's how I want life to feel. Now don't limit yourself to the phrases I just used, because you might have a phrase that works better for you than any of the phrases I just conjured up. Okay, this is not an exact script that's set in stone and you have to say it exactly this way. Allow yourself to flow with it. Think of, okay, what's been my negative pattern? How do I want life to feel? And the exact circumstances are going to vary. And you might put in some, I want to feel this way serving people, or you might say general types of activities, but don't try to nail it down and say it has to be a certain way for me to feel a certain way. Allow yourself the possibility of feeling at peace, regardless of the external circumstances. And as you consistently tap on this daily for a window of time, you're going to reset your thermostat and you're going to find yourself in that place of peace or joy or love more consistently. And there's still going to be days that you're going to fall off the wagon. Okay, there's still going to be days when you get triggered, but reset and reset it again and get back in the groove. And eventually, you're going to find the good stretches are going to last longer and longer, and the little upsets are going to be less and less common, and you will find a joyful life, a peaceful life, a loving life. That is how life is meant to feel most of the time. Can't say all the time. We learn through experience, and some experiences are just hard. But even though those are hard, we can reframe them, come back around, and be at peace as we work through the challenge. God bless you. I hope this has been helpful for you.